Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to ozcastnetwork.com for details.
Every time I start talking about boxing, a white man got full rockin' my gun out there.
About how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward.
Oh, this hard goddamn work being this good.
One more again, see what I take on your front set, I swear.
You ain't my daddy, are you?
There's gonna be consequences and repercussions.
What time is it?
Game time,
Welcome to the Don't Be Blasé podcast. I'm your host, Steve Burrows, and alongside me, as always, my co-host, Speed Caruana.
You just...
Well, it's not that easy, is it there? Not that easy. Well. Anyway, we're coming from the House of Pain, a.k.a. Snap Fitness in CBD.
Don't forget the sponsor.
Shout out to our boys, Larry and Lad, our sponsor, who do some awesome coffee, and so check them out, and they have got some awesome tunes. Did I say awesome twice? Yeah, I did. It's a hard job doing that intro, that's why Speed does it. But it's also hard to come up with a hello bit in the middle. So, Speed, what's your thoughts on that?
You've thrown me off, mate. That's very good stuff. I'm very happy with your intro there, mate. That's good work. That's good work. I'm proud of you there. You throw me a curveball, and you really have. You've completely thrown me off my game again early. But you've done it early. Steve, that's one for you, mate. I'll give you that. You've had two strikes, but you've hit that one. That's a double. You're on stand-up double. You're on second base. That's very, very good, mate. Good job.
Thank you.
Bravo.
I was actually really nervous doing that. Actually, I was like, I'm going to get a slap in the face here in a second. Like, slap upside the head. What are you doing? Get off,
just cut my lunch, mate.
Get off my shit.
No, that was good. It was good. You did well. Good job, mate. Well done. Bravo. Well, this is the Don't Be Blasé podcast. I still have to go through my thing because I've got OCD and I need to get a little of this out of the system. But today's topic is going to be a quite a popular one, I think. I think everyone's going to be sort of split, and this is going to be the one that gets the most traction on the social media, and a lot of people going, oh, you got that wrong, or you forgot this, because it's something that a lot of us hold dear to our heart. It's the Simpsons.
Sure.
One of the greatest shows of all time. That's also now become one of the worst shows of all time, but that's a different story. But today we're going to focus on the good. Today we're going to talk about the best episodes in Simpsons. Well, our favourites. We'll probably narrow it down to about 2 or 3, but our favourite episodes of all time. So Steve, I'll let you take the floor, let you get your first few in, but you run me down your favourite episodes. Like, give us your honourable mentions, give us whys, and we'll run it down, then we'll narrow it down from there.
Yeah, definitely. This is actually a conversation I have with my mates all the time, actually. Well, not necessarily the conversation, but a lot of our dialogue stems from Simpsons quotes.
Yeah.
And then we'll fire up what happens after and before. And we have a lot of laughs. And we're talking about last night with a mate. And the first one that comes to our mind is the baseball game.
Yes.
Homer goes to battle. Oh, look, we don't know I don't know the titles of these episodes, but the one where they play baseball.
Yeah. So that is a very good one. Like, that's one of those early classics. I think it's once again, facts don't matter. Season 5, 6, whatever. Like, early days. Of Simpsons. And that's when, one of the first real sort of classic ones. That's that first sort of series when they started to take the focus away from Bart and bring it more into Homer.
Exactly. And that was such a brilliant... That one, they had a lot of, obviously, the cameos. They had all the baseball players. Mr. Burns was running the franchise.
And
that was awesome.
One guy to shave his sideburns.
And Sax, the one that we use a lot is when Sax is driving along and he sees in the rearview mirror and the police lights come on and they pull him over and they said, where are you from? He's like, New York. He's like, I heard there was a unsolved murder in New York. Like, but sir, there's a lot of unsolved murders in New York. And he's like, it goes on. They lock him in jail. He's like, do I get to make a phone call? It's like, you watch too many movies. You sexy boy. Just things like that, I've totally messed it up, but that's a lot of our conversation. So that would be my first one.
Well, your conversations are obviously hilarious and factually relevant. That's okay. That's your baseball there. That is Homer at bat or whatever it's called. Yeah. What's your... Go down the list. You've got a bit of a list there.
Yeah. I did actually... this is the most research I've done for one of our podcasts. I wrote it on a yellow Post-it.
There we go.
Another one is the Flaming Moe's.
Yeah, see, now, this is where we're going to disagree straight away. I think that one... I think it's maybe one of those ones that I play it too many times on Channel 10. I've seen it too many times. You got some of the episodes that are, quote unquote classics, and then you've seen them too many times, and then you just you don't enjoy them anymore.
Okay.
It's like some like I'm a big Seinfeld fan too. And then there's some episodes they just played over and over and over again, and it's the ones they force down your throat. This is the classic episode. You've got to enjoy this, and you're kind of like, it's not my thing anymore. You know?
Okay.
Like, so Flaming Moe's for me is that one. You know?
Okay.
It is good. There's bits in it that you will mention. Oh, how about that bit? I'm like, that is funny.
Yes.
But there's just too much. I've seen it too many times. I've heard too many of the comments. It's
Alright.
That one's going to cross off the list for me. I'm not going to put that one in there.
That's okay. I'll keep going. Mr. Plow. What do you think about Mr. Plow?
Mr. Plow.
Oh, he's hesitating again. Okay.
Yeah, it's another one. I mean, it's these old. I think it's probably some of the older ones, the really original ones, early
Yeah.
ones, and they have been played too much. You know, and like they did go through. Like that was when back in the day when I had the pay TV and stuff like that, and had Foxtel, and that was when they used to do the. I was young enough that you get up Saturday morning, Sunday morning. They used to have those Simpsons marathons. And it just seemed like you always wake up and you're in your early 20s and you're just hungover all the time. Well, even though your hangovers in your early 20s last about 4 hours. But 4 hours I'd be watching The Simpsons.
Yes, right.
Because they had the Simpsons marathons first thing in the morning. And I swear to God, I've seen that episode about 100 times. So
Okay.
It's one of those things that you get a bit bored with.
Okay. That's 2 strikes already. How about what about the boxing one? What about the boxing one? Come on.
You'll give me that. That's one for me and my brother Dennis. That's one of our most quoted ones.
Yeah.
Purely for the training scene with Mo in the back of the thing, the gym, and he's got the barbed wire on the hand. They call that the stinger. they don't use that anymore. That's like probably the most used line for me and my brother. Just the old stinger.
Yeah, and I love it when when he starts fighting hobos. Yeah. And there's one fighting him, and then he throws a few
fighting
punches
for a sandwich. Yeah.
Then he turns around, makes sure his knapsack thing is in the corner, and he goes back. I thought that's hilarious.
That's good. I'll give you the boxing.
Yeah. And the Drederick Tatum when he goes, I don't know Homer Simpson, but I'm going to make Othams out of his children. I think that's how it goes. That's hilarious, man.
Good stuff,
really good
man.
stuff.
Yeah, this is like that. When they turned the focus to Homer, it became a really good show. But these are a lot of honourable mentions, Steve. You're not knocking my socks off with any of these.
Oh, okay. What about the monorail?
Monorail's good.
Yeah.
Monorail's classic.
Monorail?
And this monorail one's a very important one because that's one of the big switches in The Simpsons. Like I said, when they switched it from Bart being the focus to Homer, it picked up.
Yeah.
It dropped off a bit in my mind when, unfortunately, we lost Phil Hartman.
Oh,
because he had
Troy
McClure. He had the attorney
Lionel Hutz.
Yeah, like some of the stuff, the Lionel Hutz stuff, and then that episode he plays the monorail guy. He had some of the best lines and some of the best characters in the history.
He's awesome. Yeah, they miss that.
Yeah, they do miss it hugely.
Yeah.
Like it's once you lose some of the characters, like you can put all the characters in outrageous situations, but if it don't have the comedians delivering the lines, like all the main characters, like Marge, Homer, that sort of thing, they're almost like the straight man. You need these other characters to come in and around. The problem is they don't have these other characters to come in and around anymore. Yeah. So you're relying too much on Homer being the funny man. Also needs to be the straight guy. So
Yeah, fair enough. I also think obviously look, the show's been going on for 30 years now or something like that.
It's getting pretty close.
They've had a whole bunch of writers go through it, and I think facts don't matter, but I'm pretty sure Conan O'Brien was writing for them at one point in time in those earlier years.
Well, I do know he had his hand in the monorail episode.
Did he? Yeah. Okay, yeah. Well, I don't know how long that lasted, but Conan O'Brien is really funny. In that, he's a funny mind.
Yes.
He's a funny mind, and he knows it. So I think his influence, if I'm right, I think his influence was on those early episodes, the ones that we particularly like. Yep. I think now the actors probably go in and phoned it in now. I mean, I think it's just it's rubbish.
It's just my issue is the attention span thing. It's
right.
Episodes, like I said, we've got these episodes so far. We've got 5 written down here. Baseball, Mr. Plow, boxing, monorail. The whole episode's based on that. And these days, it's very rare that I will watch a new Simpsons episode, but the episode will start off and say it will be about baseball, and then by the end of it, it's about hiking in the woods. It's like, what happened in the middle there? They just don't seem to have the attention span to write a whole, and the episodes are only, 20 minutes. They don't have, the quality of the storyline to get a whole 20 minutes across on the same topic. They have to, switch in between, which is quite frustrating. Actually.
Yeah, definitely. And just on your counting ability with the 5 and Relationship got 4, I'm going to talk about Homer goes to college because I think you need to go to the College of Counting, Speed.
No, mate.
Now we got 5.
I didn't write down one of them because I didn't write down Flaming Moe's because it was terrible. So that's why I didn't write down that one. I knew there was 5, but it didn't register. It wasn't good enough for my pen to hit the paper, mate.
Ink is.
And I don't know. Patrick listens to the show, and sorry for the pen scratching. I know you can hear that.
Homer goes to college.
Homer goes to college.
There's some really funny stuff. You know, the dean.
Yep.
You know, the wallet inspector.
Yeah, the wallet inspector is classic.
You know, I think that's a fantastic.
And it has another one of my favourite lines. The only way to get out of the zany scheme is with a zanier scheme. And then Lisa just sitting there. Why does it have to be zany?
Somebody steals a pig.
Yeah.
You know, this is a brilliant episode.
It is great. Like I said, when it was based on one thing, it was really, really good. So what else you got, Steve? You're going through your honourable mentions now. We're
sorry.
We're still wearing them down.
Okay.
We'll narrow it down once we've got both of our lists.
I think another one is when he's the teacher. When
yes.
he's, I think he goes to teacher college or something like that, and he ends up he talks about the marriage, his marriage,
because eating an orange.
As in eating orange, that's right. And then there's actually the eating orange class, and it was just a very funny. That's another one that we come up with a lot. You know, it's like marriage like an orange, and he explains it, and he starts eating the orange, and then they said, if we want to know about orange, we'd take an orange eating class. Yeah. And then it goes back, and then you see Hans Molman is like, eating an orange is much like marriage. Eat the damn orange! You know? But to me, that's hilarious. It's very well written.
Stuff. These are good episodes, and they're all around that same region of time. You know, and once again, the new stuff's terrible. The old stuff is almost unwatchable. But that middle section of The Simpsons, there's about a good 8 years that are really great. And 100%. You've got a few more on your list here, man. Keep giving it to me. Just rapid fire.
All right, I'll quickly go. Grimy. We can talk about that one.
We'll talk about that one. Because that's a very strong subject of mine. And I'll take that one. So you keep going through your list there.
I'm gonna say the monorail. I really like the itchy, scratchy, and poochy one. I think that was sort of like the back end of the really awesome stuff. But I still think that was a funny episode.
Had its moments.
And actually, that's it. I think I've gone through all of them. Yeah, I think that there isn't the one I know that is your favourite, so I'm gonna let you run with that one.
That's one that you do have on your list.
I'm just going to leave that to you.
And this is the greatest. And I will debate anyone that this is just the greatest episode of all time. Because I'm very big on the character episodes where they bring in an alternate character.
Yeah.
The character only lasts for one episode, but they're so strong that I really enjoy it. And that's the number one of all time, as I try to choke on my words there, is the Hank Scorpio episode. That is just the most, it has so many classic lines.
Yeah.
It's the one episode where Homer doesn't need to be the pratfall, stupid character. He's actually successful in this one. He's doing really well. He's good at his job.
What does he say? He says something like, can you work harder?
Yeah.
What's that bit, man?
Yeah, he's got the people that work under him. He's their coordinator. He's like, all right, guys, can you work a bit harder? They're like, sure. And he just, excellent. It just sits back. But it's just got so many classic lines. It's just really, really well written. It's really, really funny. And having that Hank Scorpio character, which is essentially a Bond villain.
Yes, that's
right.
right.
And they make him seem like he's the nicest guy in the world. 100%.
And that's a brilliant, I love that perspective on it. It's almost like they touched on it with Austin Powers. Remember the original, I think it was the original Austin Powers when, the poor old henchman?
Yeah.
And he died, and then it flashes back to his life,
to his family, yeah.
And he's got a perfectly normal life.
Yeah, the henchman dies, and then there's the other henchman that dies, and they go to his Bucks night.
That's right.
It's he's not going to make it. He died. Yeah. He's been working for Dr. Evil.
He's a Jimmy, and I love that premise that these evil bosses around the world, like you see it now in the news, these evil guys like on the other side, and they're painted out to be these people who are like, they're going to create World War III. Well, Scorpio's like that, but he's got his own life. He's
a nice guy.
He's a nice
guy. He's got pockets full of sugar and cream, but
he does.
That's a bit weird. And he asked him if you want to kill anyone on the way out. That'd be really helpful.
That would be fantastic. And my mate brought up that last night, and he said something about, because that's his favourite.
Yeah.
Is his favourite as well. He's talking about one where he's like, can you hang up my coat or something like that?
Yeah.
But there was no coat.
Yeah.
to save the situation, he puts it quickly on backwards.
Yeah.
I think it's brilliant.
It's a very well done. It's almost like one of those ones where I want that character to come back, just for another episode, because that first one with the Hank Scorpio character is really, really brilliant. I just really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
But then we'll go back to the one that you mentioned, which is another one of my favourite top three.
Yeah.
Is the Frank Grimes episode.
Yeah, grimy.
And once again, it's just another one where you bring another character in. It's just a good trade-off with the existing characters, and that really, really made that episode. Because let's be honest, it's a very similar situation to my good friends Patrick and Andy. They're big fans of The Simpsons, but they also see me as somewhat of a Homer character. They think my life's quite easy, that everything kind of gets handed to me. And there's a still frame photo from Frank Grimes just staring a hole through Homer, and he's just really upset. You can tell that he's really upset, and Homer's just looking back and smiling like, what? Like, what I do? And that pretty much sums up my relationship with a lot of my friends.
Yeah, nice.
They're the Frank Grimes to me being Homer Simpson. Just, they're like, and I've done a lot of travel, and like, you haven't? Like,
yes.
You went to space? You haven't?
Lobster? Is that lobster?
Forget it. Your daughter's wearing pearls, for God's sake.
Yeah, that's fantastic. That's a brilliant, and I love it, right? Obviously, Homer calls him grimy throughout the whole episode.
And he hates it.
Yeah, hates it. But then they cap it off at the funeral, like Frank Grimes.
Or Grimy, as he like to be called.
Brilliant, man. That's genius writing, man.
That was good. That was a really good, like I said, once again, a character that just comes in, comes out, but it's a good foil for the existing characters that were already there.
100%.
And then there's another one, which it's not a different character, but it's another character that came in and played a really good complementary role to Homer, and that's the Larry Burns episode.
Right.
This is, once again, like, when you know who the characters are and who the actors are behind the characters, it makes a huge difference.
Sure.
And I'm a huge Rodney Dangerfield fan. And the fact that they made, like, it was just basically Rodney Dangerfield, but they just changed the character's name.
Yeah.
It was just brilliant, like...
What's it, Burns? What was his first name?
Larry Burns.
Larry Burns.
And just, like, they had to try to introduce him to, like, they were just playing... It was basically just the normal Rodney Dangerfield shtick from, like, Back to School or, those sorts of movies. And they just put it into a character, like when he goes to the debutante ball, and they're like, "Oh, she's a debutante. She's coming out next year. Oh, she put her back. She's not ready yet." Let's give a hand to your mother. She's all right. Like, I just loved all the classic Dangerfield jokes. They even end the movie, like episode where they're having a party, and all of a sudden, like that
Journey.
Yeah, Journey plays.
Any way you want it.
Yeah, it's like lays come down on people's necks and stuff. Like everyone's partying and drinking. It's like it's a party mode. It doesn't have to make sense. That was just brilliant. Like they could just bring in, like they said, they just. Rather than just, we're doing Rodney Dangerfield episode, it's Larry Burns. They managed to tie it in. Yeah. Now they just do celebrity cameos for the sake of it. And they actually have the celebrities play themselves. It's not as clever.
I heard a theory that actually, do you remember the episode when Bart shakes up the beer can?
Yes.
And he goes into a coma?
Yeah.
I heard a theory that ever since that episode, that this has been like a dream state, dream world where,
we don't need to get into
this is what I hear,
fan fiction.
No, I just heard this. I'm not much of a theory person, conspiracy theory person, but this is what I hear is that since that's why there's all these cameos and these odd
odd
episodes
suck.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it has been like a bad dream watching these episodes recently.
100%. So. I feel like it was when that movie came out. It was around that same time.
Now, I did enjoy the movie.
Did you really?
I did enjoy the movie, and on top of that, I did enjoy the Simpsons crossover with Family Guy.
I think that was more Family Guy than Simpsons.
It was a bit more Family Guy than Simpsons, but once again, it gave them something to contrast with, so that's why I enjoyed it.
Or do you think it might have been funny because maybe Seth MacFarlane might have had more to do with with the writing? It's kind of like, I guess, when George Lucas did Star Wars.
Yeah.
Okay, so he did the original Star Wars, which obviously had a huge involvement, which was great. Then he brought out next 3 Star Wars, and then because he was too close to the project, he couldn't come up with what us fans wanted. It was only really when a super fans really made the newer Star Wars where it's jumped back on track. And I feel that same way as with The Simpsons. When Seth MacFarlane...
I haven't seen the newer Star Wars.
Oh, okay.
I have this thing where I like girls. And I don't tend to watch Star Wars movies.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, sorry, mate.
Sorry. Oh, wow. That's a bird. Well, anyway, let's go back to Simpsons. I think that Seth MacFarlane goes, well, look, this is how Simpsons episode should be. Yeah. This is what I enjoyed watching. And that's probably why it was good.
I think he did breathe some life into it for those episodes there. But we'll go for another one, like I said, for honourable mention, is going to go down the list with the Can I Borrow a Feeling?
Because you've used that 100 times. That's Can I Borrow a Feeling?
It's just a great episode. Like, there's so much. Not only, like, take away the Can I Borrow a Feeling.
Right.
Just the stuff with, like, where he dates the skanky girl that steals his car. Like,
and just throws out the cassette.
Yeah, he's just the most useless bloke. Like, what's his name? Yeah, Kirk Van Houten.
Oh, brilliant.
Just the most like, I sleep in a racing car. What do you sleep in? I sleep in a bed with my wife. Like, it's just like he's trying so hard to be like he thinks he's like a good, and then he gets fired. This is my favorite bits. One of my favorite bits is when he gets fired from the Cracker Factory, and the boss from the Cracker Factory hits him with the, crackers are a family company, and we don't know if single people eat crackers, and we don't care to find out. And he's like, turns to him, looks at me, goes, so after 20 years, you're just saying so long, good luck. And he goes, don't recall saying good luck. It's just,
that's awesome.
It's just really good.
Yeah, that's fantastic.
So that one's going to be hard to beat because once again, like if you look at yours, you've got some good episodes there, but mine are all based around the alternate character.
Okay.
And so that's where I'm going to have to nail it down because that's why it can be a one-off great episode. Because if you're trying to find the best pieces of Simpsons history with the main characters, you're going to look for those ones that you've got there.
Sure.
But then that's why the standout ones for me are the ones where they brought a character in just for the one episode. I couldn't think of the one great Lionel Hutz, episode. I couldn't think of the one great, episode with Apu or whatever. But you can remember when they bring in a specialty character. That's why I could nail those ones down in my head. Otherwise, the rest of them kind of meld together. One of my other favourite Lionel Hutz lines is the one where he hands out his business card. It says, works on contingency, no money down. He's like, no, that's not right. He edits it, puts some grammar in it. He's like, works on contingency, ? No, money down. I don't remember what episode that's from, but that is a great, it's a great line. And so, but with these ones, I remember everything. And that's why I love them so much because I remember them based on the fact that they had that standout character.
Yeah. What was that episode? One I really like is when I think the teacher. I don't know if the teachers have striked or if Krabappel and Skinner have striked, and they're on top of the roof of the school, and they're trying to. And Bart's up there, and they're trying to talk him down. And they've got the megaphone, and Homer comes along and goes, "Give me that!" He takes the megaphone and goes, "Bart, this is your father speaking. Have you seen the remote control?" And then Bart's like, "Have you checked your pocket?" He's like,
"It was in my pocket." Into the microphone.
Into the microphone. Oh, it was into my pocket. That is brilliant, and I don't know what episode that is.
See, once again, if it's the major characters doing it, that's why the episodes don't stand out to me.
Right.
And that's why, to narrow it down, I'm gonna give the big tick of approval. So this is gonna be my number one.
Okay.
Is the Hank Scorpio.
Right. Look, I'm not saying it's not number one.
But it's not number one for you.
But it's not the base one to me is brilliant. I think that was the original. That was the one. There's a party in my mouth and everyone's invited. Yeah. Who doesn't say that, man?
That's Flaming Moe's.
No, isn't that Kenny Griffey Jr. when he has that's when his head explodes?
No. The party in my mouth and everyone's invited. That's the Flaming Moe. I'm pretty sure.
I'm pretty sure it's Kenny Griffey.
All right, hit us up on Facebook, guys, because I think I'm definitely right on one. That party in my mouth and everyone's invited. That is definitely from the Flaming Moe.
100% wrong. No, because it's when remember Ken Griffey Jr. He has the cough medicine.
Yeah.
And he's drinking the cough medicine, and he's like, "There's a party in my mouth, and everyone's invited." And his head gets real big.
I don't
know, man. We're gonna throw it out to the peeps.
Yeah, throw it out to the peeps. Shoot us a message on Facebook because definitely Steve's wrong. He's always wrong. So yeah, they're number one. So we need to hear from you guys. This is going to be a bit of team feedback here, guys. You shoot in with your favourites because. Let's be honest, they're probably two of the best, and you're going to have to throw in. But we can kind of we can go to a subtopic here, staying on The Simpsons.
Yeah.
Who's the best alternate character? So
okay.
Throw out the Simpsons family.
Yep.
And maybe throw out Flanders, Moe. I mean, I do love Moe.
Moe's good.
Yeah, Moe's good. I'm talking about your real obscure characters. So probably as a short list for the guys you can choose from.
Yep.
We're going to go Gil.
Yep. I really liked Lou. I think it's the black cop.
Yep. We got Lou. We got who could throw as an obscure character? Mole Man.
Hans, Mole Man. Yeah, the orange.
Because no one's gay for Mole Man.
What about I actually don't particularly he definitely serves a purpose, but Snake, is he one of the guys?
They're alternate characters.
Yeah.
That's the kind of guy I'm talking about. Like your alternates, not in every episode. Your Kirk Van Houten will go in there too. Gotta love Kirk, and even Milhouse will fall into that category because he's not in every episode. He's a pretty strong character. But he's not in every episode.
Well, can we talk about Lionel Hutz and those guys? Because Lionel Hutz and Troy McClure, Those guys are brilliant. I mean, I think it comes down to what's his name, who actually played the characters. Who?
Yeah.
We
mentioned
talked about it
earlier.
before, weren't we?
What's his name?
Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Phil Hartman.
Phil Hartman. Yes. Obviously not a very nice guy.
Well, no, it's not his fault. Got shot by his own wife.
Yeah. Well. People don't shoot people for being nice people. What happened there?
Do
we know more about that? Maybe I don't know much about this.
Steve, it's usually my gimmick here to be the spicy one and say things that are a little bit inappropriate. So far, you've stolen my intro, and now you're trying to be the arsehole on the show, mate. Stay in your lane. Come on now, you're stealing my gimmick.
Yeah.
Learn how to work, kid.
I'm gonna do arms after this as well.
I can't do arms. Jeez. Just really tearing me apart today, Steve. Bloody hell. You better bring more beers next time. But yeah, they're like I said, they're the strong characters that sort of tie everything together.
Yeah.
We mentioned earlier, we're having a chat when we're having our coffee over at Lair and Lad.
Yep.
Just a double plug there. You're welcome, Jess. Gil. Really, really good character, but they have run it into the ground a bit.
Was very good.
It was one of those ones, he only popped up in maybe 3 or 4 episodes, you know, and it was just every time you saw him, it was really, really funny. Now they just throw him out there all the time, and it's kind of killed his sort of appeal. Yeah. But just the one where and that's another episode we may have missed, the Canyonero.
Oh, yes.
Where he buys the car, and it turns out it's a girl's car. But then the song at the end of it, the Canyonero song, is classic.
Yeah.
But when Gil almost gets a sale,
he
almost sells the car and talks to his wife, calls his wife, and he's just like, honey, I almost had a sale. He's like, what? Is that Fred? You told me that was over. And he's just like, no, don't put him on. And he's like, hey, Fred. Like, that was like, if they'd left Gil there and that was the only thing he did, that would have been, honestly, I would have been able to throw that character in there with Hank Scorpio. It's one of my favourites of all time. But then they've watered it down since then. So.
Oh, they have. And they keep using, I think they're trying to go back to the glory days, and they keep trying to throw back to, what made him successful. But now it's, unfortunately, they've overdone it. Yeah. And the shtick's gone. The one I was going to throw out there, which we haven't mentioned yet, is Sideshow Bob.
Sideshow Bob?
Now, Sideshow Bob, obviously Kelsey Grammer, I think he does a really good job. One of the episodes that we didn't mention, and I thought was a really good one, is when the Simpsons move down, like I think they're in witness protection.
Yeah.
And,
it's the Cape Fear episode.
The Cape Fear one. And there's a really, really funny scene in it when...
He steps on the ropes?
No, that's okay. But I was thinking about, I think it was when they're first telling him about that they're going to go become
the Thompsons.
Yes, the Thompson. Yes,
steps on his foot. Yeah.
And, like right then, he's like, I think he's talking to you. Yeah. That's hilarious.
When they have another character in there to take the sort of take a bit of the buzz off them, that's when the main characters like the Simpson family get a chance to really cook.
Right.
Like that's when I really enjoyed them, when they get a chance to be the funny one, But you need that alternate stimulus in there to really to stir things up, and that's why, like I said, these alternate characters here are very, very important. And I mean, as far as if we're going to rate them,
okay, well, let's try it.
Run down your top 3
out of the list that we've got.
Not out of the list you've got. If you find anything, if you just something comes to your head from now on, run that down.
Well, look, I think early Gil would definitely be in my top 3.
Yep,
100%. He was hilarious. The one where he's trying to sell the computers to the school, and then he just he starts telling him how they're going to rust up, and he's like, "Oh no, Gil, close the deal." Yeah, that was a really funny. I think I like Sideshow, but I like the episodes he was in.
Yeah.
I think one of them. I think when his brother got involved,
that was a bit
one?
Yeah, it was a bit much.
That was a bit. Yeah, that was no good. And I really like early Lou, the copper.
Yep.
Him and his mate. I don't know his mate's name.
I don't remember the other guy's name either.
But
but the stuff with Lou is really good. Yeah. It just always has that little subtle line in there. It's very funny. Yeah.
So that's probably.
There's your 3: Gil, Bob, and Lou.
Yeah, and anything is Hartman. I mean, Troy McClure and Hutz are brilliant as well. But unfortunately, they they're not
not with us anymore.
Not with us anymore. So that's probably my 3, I guess. I'll tell you if anything comes
solid. Well, mine's going to be, I'm going to chuck in Gil as well, because early Gil was my favourite. Like I said, the whole thing with the phone call with the wife and Fred is like I said, I know the bit off by heart. It's still one of my favourites to this very day. From number 2, I'm going to go with Hans Moleman.
Yeah, okay,
because once again, like I said before, no one's gay for Moleman, and it's just. He just has all the, he just pops up, and every time he pops up, it's always really funny. So I really enjoy a bit of Hans Moleman. And then the last one is, and it's a really tough, because it's a father-son battle.
Yeah.
But I'm going to have to go Milhouse.
Okay.
Just because two of my favourite things from Simpsons history. Just the thirst for Lisa.
Oh yeah.
And it's another one that's a great one where they go to the beach house and Lisa makes the friends.
Yeah. Lisa's a cool one.
Yeah, Lisa's the cool one. That's a
Yeah.
cool episode. It's a funny episode. It's a really, like I said, that was at that region where they were just really.
Was
cooking.
that Lisa Kudrow? Is that Lisa Kudrow? No.
The one episode where Lisa's just.
No, the episode.
I think
Lisa
it may have been
Kudrow
Lisa
was the
Kudrow was the
character.
character. Yeah, I think it may have been. But that was that round, that sort of that season where they just all the episodes were really funny. And they really cooked and they did really, really well. And I just really enjoyed that. But the Millhouse, when they have the yearbook, and no one had signed a yearbook at school, and the friends had all written in the yearbook, and then he just pipes in with the, I wrote it too, and it just says, see you in the car. Like, you're a fucking, it's just really good. And just the other one, I can't, once again, just completely off the topic of that one, but the other one where he's chasing Lisa, I can't remember what episode it was, but it's one where she's got a crush on Nelson.
Right, yeah.
And then she's asking Millhouse to pass a note for him.
Yeah.
And he's just like, in his head, he's just like, once you do anything for her, she's bound to respect you.
Yeah.
Because she says she sees him as a big sister. He's like, sure, what's a big sister for?
Yeah.
And the note gets handed forward. Nelson opens the note. Nelson, the big bully, opens the note and says, guess who likes you? He turns around, he sees Millhouse like waving, and all of a sudden you see, woo, woo, woo. The ambulance comes there and they're wheeling him out. And she's like, Millhouse, I'm so sorry. He's like, he can't hear you.
Yeah, that's good, man.
So Millhouse for me, like everything's coming up Millhouse. He's going to be my third on the list there. He's just done a great job.
Can I just jump in quickly? Because I've got a few comments here from episodes we might not have considered.
That's all right.
I just want to throw them out there because the wife, this is one of the things I love about my wife, is she's a big Simpsons fan as well.
She's a good egg for that.
She's good, and she actually also brought up the witness relocation, hello Mr. Thompson bit.
I got that message too on mine, yep.
Nice. She's also gone with the king size Homer when I guess when he puts on lots of weight and he wears the moo-moo.
Yeah.
And then he gets the duck to press the Y.
Very, very
Is that
good.
the one? Yeah.
I've got another one here, the from my mate Patrick, the teddy bear episode.
Yeah, I've got that here as well. Teddy. That's when he, Mr. Burns.
Mr. Burns looking for his
Burns.
teddy bear.
Yep. And the other one someone's mentioned is Stonecutters.
Stonecutters.
That was a good one, I
That is
think.
a very good one.
That's a good one.
It's right. We'll shout him out.
My boy Kaftan.
Yeah, well done, mate.
Stevie Kaftan,
Give him a shout out. That's very good because I've got another one here that I've forgotten about from my mate Luke. Is the Springfield, like with the dollar sign there when they get the casino.
Oh, okay, the Spruce Moose, is that one?
No, the gambler.
Yeah.
And he becomes a gambler, and then they have to, and then Marge becomes addicted to the pokies and stuff like that.
What about the lemon tree? I've got a
Lemon Tree is good, but it's not like a super strong, like top 10 type.
Okay.
We're getting a bit more love here for Cape Fear. Big shout out to my brother. He's dropped in the Hank Scorpio too. Me and my brother grew up in the same house, so naturally we have the same taste in hilarity, and you don't because you're just not funny.
I thought the lemon tree is funny is when the dog's chasing Bart, and then Homer throws out the steak. He goes, this will slow him down. And throws him, he's like, hurry up, boy. He's going to taste the meat now. That's brilliant.
That is good stuff. That's good stuff. So thanks to the guys for sending in those messages, guys. We really appreciate that. We need the help we can because, let's be honest, we drink a lot when we do these shows and we do forget a lot of stuff and then you guys heckle us later. So thanks to the shout out to everyone that's sent the messages through on Facebook.
Yeah, appreciate that.
But it's time to change topics, Steve. We like to address 2 topics in every show. We're going to get back to our roots.
Okay.
And our roots are sports and most importantly, basketball.
Yep.
So we're going to go through today for our second sort of list. We're going to narrow it down to a number 1. And this number 1 is a number 1 with an asterisk. This is our favourite NBA player or who we thought would have been the best NBA player had they not been injured.
Right.
So we've got a bit of a list here and we're going to have to pick out your number 1. So we're going to go through the list here. We've got Grant Hill.
Yep.
Penny Hardaway.
Yep.
T-Mac, Tracy McGrady.
Yep.
Brandon Roy. And then we've got a wild card, but I'll leave the wild card for now, but you discuss the other 4, Steve.
Okay. Well, the one topical one is T-Mac, Tracy McGrady, because he just got put into the Hall of Fame.
So there we go. I think it almost eliminates him because
it does, yeah. Can you be a Hall of Famer with an asterisk?
Well, you can technically because my man Barry Bonds is one, but that's a baseball conversation and only about 3 people will get that listen to the show.
Well, T-Mac to me is like, I guess his injuries may have just caused the longevity of his career. Like maybe he just fell off towards the end. Maybe
it slow him down a little bit, but I still think like the injuries never really affected him.
Yeah,
come playoff time, and that's where my issue with T-Mac is like great player, yes, great scorer, but everyone always tries to have a go at me and go, "Oh, T-Mac was as good as Kobe." It's like, he did score a lot, and he did score that 13 points in 50 seconds, and that always that wins it. When you can score in a hurry like that, I love the Reggie Miller 9 points in 6 seconds or whatever it is.
Yeah.
Even though it happened against my number 2 team, my
team.
Diuzi Knicks. Yeah, the fact that he did make the Hall of Fame eventually, and he never got out of the first round of the playoffs. Except for when he sat on the bench.
For what, Houston or who was he
No,
playing for?
right at the end of his career, he was that, on the vet minimum. He sat on the bench for the Spurs. I think he got maybe three minutes during the playoffs.
Yep.
So technically got out of the first round. But when he was the focal point of the team, never got out of the first round of the playoffs.
Okay.
So for me, that's going to put a line through him.
Oh, all right, yeah. Because if I was picking a team out of these asterisks, I probably would have picked T-Mac as my first
As your number
player. Out of those guys that we've mentioned.
Yeah.
Because the guy scored, I think, 35 points a game. This guy was amazing.
He wasn't a very impressive scorer.
Was him and Vince Carter will probably go down as the best in-game dunkers of all time up until this point. I think they're cousins as well.
Oh, there you go.
So I'd say, the other one, Penny. Now, Penny's a funny one to me because I don't know how good Penny actually was.
Ooh, we're going to fight on this.
Okay, the reason is because I think his best years was his early years when he played with Shaquille O'Neal. And you know what, if I played with Shaquille O'Neal, I'd probably score 20 and get 8 assists as well. I don't know. I just think that...
Steve, you are very much in the Scott Skiles mode, and he didn't score 20 points. Scott Skiles, for those that are listening, is the NBA in-game assist leader.
Yeah.
Did have 30 in one game.
Yep.
This is pre-Shaq, too.
Pre-Shaq, yeah.
But he was also a little pudgy white guy.
Pudgy?
That was...
I'm on a diet, man.
Losing his hair, you need to stay on your diet. He was losing his hair at the time too, so you and Scott Skiles, there's a lot of simple. I know you see yourself more in the Jason Williams mold, but I'm giving you Scott Skiles.
Wow, all right, well, fuck you. Penny sucks. Grant Hill was the next Jordan.
Yeah,
he was the one who came into the league. Well, one of the many who came into the league after Jordan sort of retired. And he was just probably the best all-round player ever, probably. He was probably not probably as good as, he wasn't as good as LeBron, but he was a guy who could fill up that stat sheet.
He had the potential to be in LeBron. And this is why this list is really heartbreaking for us, because it's some of the guys that you thought they were going to be your guys going forward. And Grant Hill really had that. He came in with a bang. And I wanted, the Pistons are another team that I have a soft spot for because I love the bad boy Pistons, and I also loved the Pistons of the early 2000s because they're a strong team. But if had they been able to keep Grant Hill was that one that was going to take them to the next generation. He still had Joe Dumars in the team from the bad boys, but then he was the one that was supposed to take them forward.
It was a bridge.
And now his ankles are made out of mostly carbon fiber.
Yeah.
He is just absolutely trashed. But he had that, you watched him play, and he had the high-flying dunks, and he had the late-game heroics, but he, like you said, he was that guy that could do just about everything.
Yeah, he was smooth as. Smooth. But what was incredible, no matter how injured and when we say injury, I mean, he played till he was 50.
Yeah, he did he still had a good 12-year career, but it just took out the
top of his game. That year 5, year 6, year 7 when you're really killing it.
Yeah.
He was just hampered by injuries.
He never really hit that ceiling that he could have. They still played and they were still respectable. But they just never really got their shine because they just sort of got cut down when they were, and that's where it's going to tick into number 4 I've got on the list here is Brandon Roy.
Yeah, sure.
And he's one of those ones that's really underrated because he didn't play for a high profile team. He played in Portland.
Yep.
And it was the tail end of that Jail Blazers team.
Yeah.
Where they had, Rashid and Stoudemire and Zach Randolph. And they were all getting arrested left, right, and centre. And he was that just solid player. I would almost put him in. I know you trashed him last week and called him the P word, but Scottie Pippen mold.
Okay.
Where he was one of those guys that, once again, he could just do everything. He wasn't the best scorer, he wasn't the best defender, but he was just that guy that could do everything. But the one thing that made him most important was he was clutch.
Yeah.
For a guy that didn't play a full season, I don't think ever, he's got one of the greatest collections. If you can just Google Brandon Roy game winners.
Yeah.
He hit clutch shot after clutch shot after clutch shot. He didn't even play that many games, but the games that he did play that got close, he always stood up. And that's one reason why I like to add him on this list.
I think it doesn't really matter if you play full season because LeBron James, I don't think has ever played a full season.
Just the fact that you can
always
shoehorn
sits
LeBron into every show.
Shout out to Daniel. He has to sit out the last 6 to 10 games because he's actually when he came into the league, I thought he was already 25 when he came into the league. Anyway, that's probably why he's so broken down.
Well, that's a good. I'll let you have that one because he was 25 when he came into the league. There's a asterisk, a double asterisk next to two names I'm going to put down here.
Okay.
And one of them, you said LeBron looked 25 when he came into the league. But there was the one guy I've got written down here that looked like LeBron's granddad when he came into the league. And that's Greg Oden.
Oh, yeah.
The number one pick ahead of Kevin Durant.
Yeah, who would have thought?
For the Portland Trailblazers.
Yeah.
So now this is going to become a very infamous list because the name I've got next to Greg Oden, like just to jump ahead, is Sam Bowie.
Right. Also...
chosen by the Portland Trailblazers.
Wow. Someone's going to get fired, man.
No, it's just this team is cursed.
Is it curse or bad list management?
I don't know what it is because you've got Brandon Roy, who was picked maybe 7. You've got Greg Oden, that was picked number 1. And you've got Sam Bowie, that was picked number 2.
Ahead of
Michael Jordan.
the GOAT.
Oh, my God. The one thing I love about that draft is no one ever badmouths the pick of Olajuwon. Olajuwon was the number 1 pick that year. And even though Michael Jordan is, quote-unquote, the GOAT, no one will ever deny how good Olajuwon was, is, always will be.
No.
Olajuwon was an absolute superstar. But the Sam Bowie pick, and Sam Bowie is just that guy that you got to feel bad for because someone had to be the guy that got picked before Jordan.
Sure.
And unfortunately, it was Sam Bowie. At the time, the Blazers had Clyde Drexler.
That's right.
Who was an exceptional player.
Yep.
So they didn't feel the need to draft another, even though Drexler's even come on the record as saying, I would have played the 3, would have played small forward if you guys drafted Jordan, you know what I mean? But they went, that was when the NBA was a different time.
It was a time when you built teams around centers.
Yeah, you built from the inside out.
That's
it wasn't
right.
all these like sharpshooters and stuff. Like these centers these days, we've got maybe 3 genuine centers left in the league. And, only 4 that can actually score more than 15 points a game.
Yep.
And the thing is, it was built around you dump the ball into the middle. I mean, the number 1 pick was Olajuwon. They already had Ralph Sampson.
That's right. They had the Twin Towers.
They had 2 7-footers because that's the way the game was played. So to take a guy, Sam Bowie, that was like 6'11", and he was athletic.
Yeah.
But he was also very weak from, it was knee, ankle, foot.
Yeah.
And you don't want to have bad feet.
You saw his pins. He had skinny legs.
He did have skinny. He had a weird sort of torso.
Yeah, he did.
Not a real. That's back in the day before strength training really came in, and these guys were just weird looking creatures.
They were.
But that doesn't defend Greg Oden.
No, probably Greg Oden.
Greg Oden was like 7'1".
Yep.
He could block every shot that came into the lane. He was a throwback. He was supposed to be that guy that threw the NBA back to a former time. He was supposed to be the Olajuwon, the David Robinson, the Patrick Ewing type player, the franchise center. He was supposed to be the one that turned the game, turned back time, brought it back to the time when you had a big center in the middle. But those knees, not only did he look like LeBron's granddad, he
legitimately did.
He actually looked like he was 50 years older than LeBron James.
Yeah.
His knees were also 60 years older than LeBron James, and they just never came up good.
It's such a shame, isn't it? It's such a shame they're old injuries.
Because, once again, if you go back on YouTube, look up Greg Oden at the University of Ohio, the Ohio State University, and you watch some of the games he had, and he was amazing.
Injuries are devastating. I attribute injuries to me not going NBA, AFL, WWE. Yeah.
Not the fact that you're 5'7" and have a average amount of talent.
5'8", and I'd like to say, average is probably fair. Yep, okay, good call. Yeah,
but it is a heartbreaking situation. Like, so these guys had all the talent in the world to be like. Just to take the top 2, because I think we're going to come down. Me and you are going to come down to these top 2 of Penny and Grant Hill.
Yep.
Both of them had the potential to be in this conversation that we had last week about who's your number 1 of all time. I honestly think those 2 had the potential to be in the LeBron, Michael Jordan, Magic Johnson, Larry Bird conversation.
Yeah.
Of of your greatest of all times. They had that potential.
Grant Hill for sure.
I know you don't like Penny, but
I like Penny.
See, because I loved Penny because that was, to me, it was the next 6 foot, plus 6'5" plus point guard that was going to take
He was
over
an
the game.
oversized point guard. That's right. 6'7",
Said, being a big Magic fan,
Yep.
I love the oversized point guard. And
Yep.
real talk, that's why Jalen Rose is my favourite player.
Sure.
growing up. And Jalen Rose's favourite player was Magic Johnson.
Yep.
But that's why the penny to me, like you said, you run him down, but you said, he had success early with Shaq. The year that he did his knee was the year Shaq left.
Yeah.
So that's the thing. He never really got a chance to shine on his own. So he's always tied together with Shaq.
Yeah.
And had it not been for Nick Anderson's ability to hit one free throw out of 4, he may have been an NBA champion.
He may have been, but history suggests he's not.
Jesus, you're just really putting the sword to Penny.
Sorry. No, look, Penny was a gun, obviously, but he just... I don't think he's not Grant Hill.
Yep.
And he's not T-Mac. I mean, two different players.
Yeah, okay.
T-Mac was scoring champion. T-Mac should have been he wasn't could have been a dunk contest winner, but if it wasn't Vince Carter. Look, I'm going to say Grant Hill's number 1.
Okay.
The other guys, Odin and Bowie, went down too early to know. Brandon Roy was unbelievable. Well, he actually was. He could score. He could score 25 a game. He was a very good player. But once again, just never... Yeah, he lived in a lot of shadows as well. I think there was a lot of other great players at the same time. Grant Hill came in winning championships with Duke. So, he's my number 1.
So you're going to go Grant Hill?
Grant Hill, out of the list that we've come up with, number 1.
It's a good list, and I'm going to go with Penny personally because, like I said, I had the real soft spot for Penny, and then Penny did go and have quite good success at the Phoenix Suns. Unfortunately, he was teamed up with Jason Kidd, who's another. This is going to be another conversation of greatest point guards of all time, but Jason Kidd is right up there for me. Yeah. And unfortunately, they ran into an amazing team. What were they? They wear purple and gold. They're from the West Coast. I think they're called
the Sparks.
The Los Angeles Lakers.
The Lakers.
One of the greatest, or probably the greatest team in the history of sports. But that's going to be our show for today,
Do I get to close it?
No, I'm closing it. No, you stole my intro. Let me have my fucking close, all right?
Okay.
I may let you have the close next week, but not this week. So for this week, guys, that's going to be it. Remember to jump onto iTunes, rate the show, give it a 5-star review. All 8 of you guys that are listening. We lost a viewer from last week. We had 9 last week. Now we've only got 8. But thanks for listening, guys. Thanks for the comments. Everyone keep getting on the Facebook. Share it, like it. Send it out to everybody. We know we're your favourite show, guys. Share us out. Let everybody else enjoy this bullshit banter we go through. For Speak Arrow 1 and saying goodbye, Steve Burrows.
See ya.
Woo. Yeah, you're much better than intro, mate. That's going to be up this week, guys. Take it easy. Peace.
Love this podcast? Support it and sponsor today. Simply head to AuscastNetwork.com for details.